guys, it's Todd from Like Minded Lunatics, bringing you, it's another drink, play, swear. Hey, it's all we do around here. I mean, besides debating with our friends whether which is cooler, 8-ball or 9-ball, it's all we care to do around here. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear, and welcome back to Like Minded Lunatics. No, Like Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear. It's also my buddy Mark Gifford, and you know this by now. Bang, check out his playlist up there. The Friday night videos are just the greatest thing on the channel, and I'm not kidding about that. Fantastic every week, and while I'm thinking about it, bang, 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 hit that subscribe button. At the time of recording this, we just hit 4,000 subscribers. Always growing, always excited to build this family. Thanks for being here. It means a lot to us. It honestly does. So, what do we do at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. We play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, before we get going on this, Mark and I just set up a Patreon account where you can have access to every one of our Like Minded Lunatics television shows. That's right. LML is not just on YouTube, it's also on, Austin Music Television, Channel 16. We've created over 20 episodes so far. Every Friday night we're on. But please, if you want access to that entire collection of our TV show, join us on Patreon. It's a good time. I promise it is. All right, so yes, here on Drink, Play, Swear, we play a game. We drink a beverage, and I tell you a story. What are we playing today? It's Golden Axe 2 on the Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis, I feel like, is dirty in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Like, the console was black. The controllers were black. The audio was, like, extra grindy. Like, listen. You know what I mean? It was just like... When we grew up on Nintendo, right? It was innocent to some degree. And then the Genesis was like, fuck you, dude, let's kick some ass. I love it. So we're gonna play some Golden Axe 2. Listen to this. I'm gonna drink a Jim Beam and Coke while I listen to this right here. Get yourself something. And look at this dude. This evil warlord king, that was definitely a phallus, wasn't it? I mean, if you don't think it was, you're not paying attention. Let's start some Golden Axe 2. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. Ooh, I'm gonna go to options because I've learned that in, in the Genesis, you get some control. Same thing with Super Nintendo. The 16-bit era, would give you a lot of choice. And what are we gonna do? I mean, I'm gonna start out as Little Dude with the Axe, because Little Dude with the Axe looks like he kicks ass, doesn't he? So let's do that. I'm not gonna use my special right away. I'm gonna fight these dudes, and we'll get into the story. What do we want to talk about today? You know what? I got to reminiscing about childhood the other day, and I got to thinking about my grandparents' house. That's right. And like-minded lunatic Ricky, who is my cousin, we have the same maternal grandparents. We had the same maternal grandparents. He remembers them much better than I do because he's older than I am. He's an old dude. My grandfather I lost when I was in 2nd grade. My grandmother I lost when I was in 4th grade, so I didn't have a lot of time with them. I also lived very far from them, but I do have some really positive memories, not only of them, but of their house. And if you'll excuse me, the house is sort of the focus today. Although I will say as I begin, that my grandmother, she was always like, really welcoming. And she let me watch TV with her, even though she didn't really like share the TV with too many people. I got to watch David Letterman, Late Night with David Letterman with her, and Cheers with her at night. And my grandfather was such a kind guy. We called them mamaw and papaw, okay? You know, everyone's got family names for how you address your grandparents. Mine were mamaw and papaw. West Texas folks. And they were great. And my grandfather, my papaw, would, I remember he found out that I was into art and that I liked drawing. And so I remember this one occasion, and I gotta say, because I was so young when they passed away, I probably have like memories of like 3 or 4 interactions with each of them total, you know? Like it's very, very low for me. But one of the interactions that I remember specifically was that my papaw took me into the bedroom. And look at this, dude. I love the bosses are so massive. Don't you love a massive boss in a game? Just makes it more fun. Let's smoke this dude with our magic here. He took me into the bedroom, he set me on the bed, and he gave me a book of poetry that he had written. He was a poet. And he was also an artist. Pencil drawings, you know. But he also did some painting. He did beautiful, like realistic art, you know, birds, wildlife, but also people. And he was a very kind guy, but he, look at that, smoked that dude early. But he, on this one occasion, I remember he set me down and he let me sit on his bed, and he left. He'd just walk away and let you sit with his stuff. He left and just let me look at his book of poetry and had his art. And he gave me a blank sheet of paper and a pencil and let me sort of draw, you know, for myself, my sort of reflections on all this. It was a very early artistic experience for me. So they were great people. But as I said, I would love to focus on their house because you know those places, just like your own childhood home, if you loved it, or other memorable places from your childhood, you reflect on the spaces, and they're often spaces that you don't have the power to go to anymore, that you couldn't go to even if you wanted to. And so it feels special to think about them. But my mamaw and papaw's house was one of those places I always looked forward to, and I only saw them maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but man, it was great. You'd get in the front door, they'd answer the front door, and you'd get in, and they had this formal living room, kind of old school, right? You don't see it much anymore. A formal living room, and what that meant was nobody ever spent time in it, right? It was always clean, nice sofa, nice chair, and no one spent time there. There was a grandfather clock. There was a lectern, I remember, with the family Bible. My grandfather was a Church of Christ minister, you see. And so the family Bible there would be important. Very formal situation. I remember me and my cousins would sometimes, when no one was around, hang out there and play cards. We played a game called Mexican Sweat. But we didn't spend much time in there. And then you see, once you move past there, you had the dining room. And again, it was a formal dining room. That was all old school, right? It's like, in the old days, once you reach the front door, this was like the public space, like how you were supposed to receive guests. And so the living room was very formal, and then the dining room was also formal, wood table. And I remember, and this is sort of an outdated thing, is they had, excuse me, they had wax fruit, you see. Wax fruit in bowls, like a wax apple, wax pears in bowls. That was like what you did to be fancy, I guess. But all that stuff was just to get you through the house. And what was the important thing for us? Don't you love this game? Look at this, skeletons and monsters. How could you not love this game? what was the emphasis for us? Well, me and my cousins, and they can attest to this, I'm sure, is that the pool room was the real reason we were there. They had this room in the back of the house that was called the pool room. And what it was this area with the big pool table, right? But also floor to ceiling bookshelves with in my mind, and I'm sure I've conflated it over the years, but every book I can think of. And also I can attest for sure with magazines, and the first time I ever encountered Mad magazine. And I always loved illustrated material. And so that was a big deal for me. But me and my cousins, man, we would kick back there, and not only would we play pool, but we would just, play. And I wouldn't see my parents what it felt like for days at a time when we were there, because you were just hanging with your cousins and having a good time. And it was in that house, it was in that space. And I remember on Friday nights or Saturday nights, if we were there, the grown-ups, my parents and my grandparents and aunts and uncles would be sitting around smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, eating dinner, and we'd be back in the pool room writing plays and creating the drama of a performance we wanted to perform. And eventually, when we were ready to do so, we would show up, as you do as a kid, show up and tell the grown-ups that you were ready to perform for them, and give them a show. And it's hard to remember because I was so little. In my mind, these were epic hour-long plays that we had written and rehearsed and produced. Now I probably look back and can admit to myself that maybe these were only 10 or 15 minutes, but they were a great time. And my time in that house with my family is sacred to me. And thinking about that house, the places we spend in our childhood stick with us, forever. And I, to this day, when my kids, who are 11 and 5, when they tell me that they want me to do something or they're trying to get my attention, sometimes you get annoyed. You're like, hey, I got something going on. Like, give me a break. Go play. Go do something. But if they tell me they have a performance to give, if they tell me that they want to show me something they've written that they want to act out, I always try to take it seriously, because I remember being a child and wanting to share, right? And wanting to share my creativity. So if you are a creative person, I hope that you are sharing your creativity. And oh my God, I got caught up in my story and caught up in what I think is a really great game, although it's clear I stunk at it. But look at all that beverage. But you know me, I can take care of it. So why don't you, if you haven't taken care of your beverage yet, take care of it as well. In between now and the next time I talk to you, oh gosh, this is a lot. I'm Todd, Mac Wright, T. Rizzy, son. I'm gonna do it, it's just cold. And you like this game anyway, don't you? Ugh.